so we're going to move on to part 161. Again, this is part of a video series. There's 6 videos that go together. The list of videos will be on the information from YouTube and also in the blog post showing you which ones you want to take a look at. Okay, so line 18A, 3Z, 2C, fuel, tokamak, stellarator, ITER, plasma currents, ionized gas, UFO, 5G well SETI. Just so I can clarify, there's over 100 videos for this series, and I've put them into little groups of lines of data from the WOW SETI signal. I'm still working on line 18A, and I'm just adding letters and numbers for each piece of data that comes up. So I don't know how long. I still have a lot more to go with 18A. Look at loads. Well, line 18 actually goes from A to Z, just so you know. So there's a lot more stuff coming up. Okay, so this is the WOW SETI alien radio signal that was picked up in 1977. I know I sound repetitious, but there are new people coming into the channel looking at stuff, so I'm going to be saying that a lot. Okay, so here's an invention that I found. It's a fuel retention in tokamaks, posted June 2009 from Laurier T. It says tritium retention constitutes an outstanding problem for ITER operation in future fusion reactors, particularly for the choice of the first wall materials. In present-day tokamaks, fuel retention is evaluated by 2 complementary methods. The in situ gas balance allows evaluation of how much fuel is retained during a discharge, and typically up to a 1 day of experiments. Post-mortem analysis is used to determine where the fuel is retained, integrated over an experimental campaign. In all the carbon-clad devices using the 2 methods, the retention is demonstrated to be very closely related to the carbon net erosion. This results from plasma wall interaction with ion and charge exchange fluxes, ELMs, and is proportional to the pulse duration. The fuel retention by implantation saturates at high wall temperatures and limits the D-C ratio in the deposit layers, but as far as the carbon source exists, the dominant retention process remains the co-deposition of carbon with deuterium. In full metallic device, in the absence of wall conditioning with boron, co-deposition is strongly reduced and fuel retention below 1% can be achieved. Extrapolation to ITER shows that removing the carbon from the plasma facing components would increase the number of discharges to 2,500 before reaching the maximum tritium limit of 700 G. 700 G. That's better than 5G. I have no idea what that means. Anyways, here's a picture. It's the interior view of ASDEX upgrade in its full final tungsten configuration. The progressive year-by-year transition from a carbon configuration into a tungsten one has enabled insights to be gathered into tokamak operation with this plasma-facing material. The ITER-like wall project at JET, J-E-T, see the article in this issue, will also be a major step allowing PWI studies to investigate a tungsten beryllium mix similar to ITER. And then photos from IPP, and of course that's www.efda.org. So other one's from www.journals.elsevier.com. Next thing comes up is the Max Planck Institute introduction of power plant, types of experiments. On its way to a power plant fusions, research is concentrating on 2 different types of experiment, the tokamak and the stellarator. Most of the devices in the world today are of the tokamak type, which is best investigated and comes closest to the ignition conditions. Both types feature ring-shaped magnetic fields. Tokamaks produce part of these fields by means of an electric current flowing in the plasma. Stellarators, on the other hand, form the magnetic field cage solely by means of external coils. Stellarators are thus suitable for continuous operation, whereas tokamaks without auxiliary facilities can only work in pulsed mode. Max Planck Institute for Plasmique is the only fusion center in the world investigating both types of experiment, This allows a direct comparison. And their website is www.ipp.mpg.de. February 21st, 2012. As you can see, I started working on this quite a while ago, and what happened is some of the lines of data got divided, so then of course I worked on those, and this got pushed further and further down. So that's what happened there. So you'll see the dates kind of jump around all over the place. I'll be going from February 21st all the way up to March the 8th, because I've been doing research on those for the last month or so. Okay. My thoughts. Quote, extrapolation to ITER shows that removing the carbon from the plasma-facing components would increase the number of discharges to 2,500 before reaching the maximum tritium limit of 700. And that quote was from the Fuel Retention and Tokamak's PDF file. So, quote, a tokamak is a device using a magnetic field, because I didn't know what a tokamak was, okay? So I'm just looking up to see what it means. A tokamak is a device using a magnetic field to confine a plasma in the shape of a torus donut. Achieving a stable plasma equilibrium requires magnetic field lines that move around the torus in a helical shape. Such a helical field can be generated by adding a toroidal field traveling around the torus in circles and a poloidal field traveling in circles orthogonal to the toroidal field. Sorry if I'm saying the words wrong. In a tokamak, the toroidal field is produced by electromagnets that surround the torus, and the poloidal field is the result of a toroidal electric current that flows inside the plasma. This current is induced inside the plasma with a second set of electromagnets. The tokamak is one of the several types of magnetic confinement devices. It is one of the most researched candidates for the producing controlled thermonuclear fusion power. So they're trying to make thermonuclear fusion power with it. Magnetic fields are used for confinement since no solid materials could withstand extremely high temperatures of the plasma. An alternative to tokamak is the stellarator. Of course, that's a Wikipedia file. So I looked up this tokamak thing, and I found this picture here. It says to set up hyperfrequency tubes, 84 gigahertz to 118 gigahertz, for plasma heating by electron cyclotron waves on the tokamak A configuration variable, TCV, courtesy of CRP. Oh, there it goes. Okay, it's from Wiki Tokamak. Okay, just wanted to see what it looked like. So, my thoughts. February 9th, 2012. Again, you can see how far. Yes, I was working on this over a month ago. Basically, I'll be uploading a video, so I keep myself busy by doing more research. And I get confused sometimes because I'm bouncing back and forth all over the place on here. So, my thoughts. We're going to take a tokamak, add plasma, add the neutrinos, add the liquid argon gas, and this is going to equal the 5G force energy for a UFO engine. These are my ideas anyways. Don't look at your regular calculations to figure this out. Look at the nuance from people's theories. Now, one of the things that I'm getting is people commenting saying, it's impossible, we can't do this, you can't do that. What I want you to do is find a way to make it possible. I want you to go outside of the box, and I want you to think up some new equations and new ideas that can make this work. Because I never say that something doesn't work. If you get an idea and you think it can work, then you find a way to make it work. That's the best way to do it. Because if you don't, you're always going to be hindered by the fact that, okay, well, as per the 17th century, physicists and scientists, they came up with all these equations. And of course, if you read back in history, all of them were told, this isn't going to work. It's impossible. And guess what? Here we are in 2012, proving a lot of those theories that are correct. So never say something's impossible. What I want you to do is to try to find a way to make it possible. And if you can't, what I'm doing is I Google keywords and stuff that you leave in my comments. And I look up any recent test results or anything from all over the world and see if I can find a way to prove that it is possible. And so that's what I'll be doing in the videos, is showing you what's coming up in the WOW SETI lines of data. But I'm also going to take whatever comments you put on those videos and I'll look it up and see what I can find for you, okay? So this is relatively constant electric current. This is a constant toroidal field diagram. It shows the coils, shows a plasma current there. And then, of course, we're doing the study of plasma because in the original formulas that have come up, plasma is one of the ways we're going to get this 5G force to work in a UFO engine. And we're looking at different components of an engine and different things that we can use to make it go a lot faster. And the ultimate goal was for us to get to Mars in 2 months' time. Based on the calculations I came up with, we should be able to get there in 2 months. I'm trying to work it out to get there in 3 days. The only way we can do that is we can find a way to split the energy particles in such a manner that they will generate that kind of energy. So that's what this whole thing's all about, building a UFO engine. Just like a UFO, so we can travel to the Kepler region of planets. In case you're just joining us now, that's what this is all about. There's over 100 videos showing you all the different things we found in a alien radio signal. It's got all this data coming up in it. So this is relatively constant electric current. This round thing, I've seen it before in line 18 in the data. Okay, so sorry for my rabbit trails. I'm rambling. It's 11 o'clock at night, so I've been doing research for the last 3 hours. So the tokamak magnetic field and current shown is the toroidal field and the coils blue that produce it. The plasma current is red and the palladial field produced by it, and then the resulting twisted field when they are overlaid. That's what that diagram means. So the next thing I look up is electricity, electric current, a movement or flow of electrically charged particles. Again, because he talked about the electric universe, so I'm looking to see what he meant by that and what comes up. Okay, so this is electric current, a movement or flow of electrically charged particles. Most materials are relatively constant over a range of temperatures and currents. So I'm going to Google electrical effects and plasmas just to see what comes up. And so I found a quote there. Most of the space within our galaxy is occupied by plasma, rarefied ionized gas containing electrons, negative charges, and ionized atoms, positive charges. Every charged particle in the plasma has electric potential energy voltage. They're still trying to figure out why the universe has so much electricity in it. I was thinking, like, our brains, the way we communicate as human beings is we have electrons in our brain and they have little electric currents, and that's how our cells communicate with each other. So you can tell our DNA is directly related to that of whatever matter is found out in the universe. It's also in the human body, and I don't know if they've actually tested that theory or not, but it'd be interesting to see if they did. So here's the www.electric-cosmos.org, March 8, 2012. As you can see, I don't write all my thoughts down. I come up with stuff as I go along. So this was done at 3:11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, my thoughts. Plasma that is heated or becomes ionized gas. It contains electrons, which are negative charges, and ionized atoms, which are positive charges. And as a charged particle, it creates electric potential energy or voltage. So, mixing the plasma components with the neutrino mixture should be able to generate quite a bit of power. The question is, who can test these theories and get back to me to let me know how you got them to work? Never say it cannot be done. So I'm going to repeat this over and over again in every video now. When you guys say it can be done, I'm going to say I'm going to prove to you it can be. Anything is possible. Maybe we don't know how to do it yet, but we can learn. Through trial and error, we can find a way to make the formulas work, even if it means coming up with new theories for the world of physics. I will not base all of my advice on past info written by someone in the 17th century. True, they came up with many new concepts, and in 2012, it's time for you to come up with some new ones as well. So these are all a list of the videos that are going to be talking about the same data, and it's been split into 6 videos for this particular section. There are over 100 videos altogether, and I just do them in little sections for you. Basically, I got a line of data, and there was so much I had to split it up into different videos so that each video is around 10 or 15 minutes long. Okay, so we're going to go to the next one then.